AITA, drama, secrets, confessions. Welcome to Trove Reddit.
I never thought that family, the place called the safest, could turn into a battlefield that would make me lose everything. When my grandfather passed away, I was certain I would receive the inheritance that had been promised to me years ago. It wasn't just about money, but about recognition, proof that I belonged to this family too. But then, I was cut out. No warning. No explanation. And even more painfully, the ones behind it were my own blood. Can you imagine the feeling of being betrayed by your own family? If one day you discovered that your family had quietly stripped away your future, would you choose to stay silent and accept it, or rise up and fight against everything? Everything seemed to begin like a scene straight out of a family movie. My grandfather, the man always seen as the pillar and soul of our entire lineage, passed away after a sudden illness. Since I was a child, he had promised me, one day, you will receive what's rightfully yours, because you are someone who keeps your word and lives responsibly. I trusted him. And I lived my entire youth with that belief. I turned down countless opportunities just to stay close to my family, to care for him in his final days. I thought that love and sacrifice would be recognized and fairly rewarded. But during the reading of the will, everything collapsed. My name didn't appear at all. The portion that should have been mine ended up firmly in someone else's hands. The room was suffocatingly silent, leaving only the sound of my heart racing wildly. They say money changes people. But I never imagined it could change even your own blood, turning them so cold. And in that moment, I asked myself, had I been betrayed from the start? Or was this just a cruel game of power within the family? What do you think? If you were in this situation, would you stay silent or fight until the end? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to follow the next part of the story. In the eyes of our neighbors, my family was always a golden example. Many siblings, yet full of love for each other, with family meals always warm and filled with laughter. But only those involved knew that beneath that perfect exterior lay a slow burning crack. I, the eldest grandchild, had been close to my grandfather since childhood. I cared for him with every pill, every meal. But my cousin, a clever one, skilled at currying favor, was often absent. And yet, strangely, that very name was the one called out in the will. The room froze in an instant. My mother choked back tears, my father seethed with anger, and I was left speechless. That cousin looked at me with a challenging gaze, as if to say, you put in the work, but I'm the one chosen. The real spark ignited when my aunt, who was also that cousin's mother, stood up and declared, grandfather made his decision, so we must respect it. Anyone who doesn't accept it is against the whole family. Those words were like a knife tearing apart every bond. From family affection, the atmosphere shifted into a silent war. One side was me and those who believed something shady was at play. The other side was their faction, those always scheming to maintain control. This was no longer about the will. It had become a battle between justice and cunning. And I knew I could no longer sit idly by. I decided to dig through the old papers, trying to understand why my name had been erased from the will. Everything seemed clear at first, but the deeper I dug, the more I felt like I was falling into a maze. A stack of files hidden deep in a drawer. Handwritten letters from my grandfather, bank statements, and contracts. And the most shocking of all, small, scribbled notes I had never seen before. Each line revealed a piece of a puzzle I could never have imagined. My grandfather had been influenced, persuaded by my cousin and their mother. They had planned to strip me of my inheritance, while maintaining a perfect image in front of everyone else. I couldn't believe it. Did my grandfather truly want this, or had I been betrayed from the very start? The people I trusted the most. Were they on my side, or had they turned their backs? Anger and pain surged through me. I wanted to scream. How can you be so heartless? But another question rose in my heart. If it were you, what would you do upon discovering that your family had quietly betrayed you? Would you stay silent and accept it, or rise up and fight against everything? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like if this story shocks you too. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the next part, where all the secrets will be revealed. Just when I thought I understood everything, an unexpected detail emerged. While cleaning my grandfather's room, I found a small box hidden beneath the carpet. Inside were old letters and a densely packed notebook. I opened it, and each page struck me straight in the heart. It turned out that years ago, my grandfather had already suspected the actions of certain family members. Warnings mixed with regrets were meticulously recorded, every detail, every event. He had quietly planned to secure my inheritance, but before he could act, he was swayed by pressure from my cousin and their mother. Another piece of the puzzle appeared. Old text messages from my cousin sent to a secret accomplice, discussing how to alter the will. Every word, every line, revealed a carefully calculated scheme. I felt betrayed not just by their actions, but by the cold calculation, as if everything had been scripted in advance. The person I trusted most, my grandfather, had actually been trying to protect me in silence. And those I thought were my allies were, in fact, the masterminds, hiding their ambitions behind smiles and etiquette. Each piece fell into place, but instead of satisfaction, I only felt a prolonged nightmare. The clearer everything became, the more I realized this battle was far from over. And the only question left in my mind: who truly stands with me, and who is playing this deadly game of chess? When the secrets were finally exposed, the air in the room grew so heavy it was suffocating. My mother burst into tears, sobbing repeatedly, "Why? Why did it come to this?" Yet her eyes were full of resentment too, as if blaming me for daring to doubt them. My father, always the picture of calm, suddenly stood up, slamming his hand on the table. "No one in this family can be trusted anymore. Have you ever witnessed the person you trusted most become a stranger in the blink of an eye?" My cousin sneered, eyes full of defiance. "You think you're so fair? This is how things really work." Those words hit me like a cold knife, piercing the trust I had held for so many years. Do you think sometimes those closest to us can be more dangerous than outsiders? The rest of the family exchanged wary glances, no one daring to take my side, yet none openly defending my cousin. A room full of people, yet chillingly cold. Have you ever felt so alone that your heart seems to stop right in the middle of your own family? And he, the one I had planned to share my life with, stood beside me, holding my hand, eyes full of confusion. I don't know what to say anymore. In that moment, I realized that love and family together can create the deepest wounds. So if it were you, whose side would you take? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like if this story takes your breath away. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the next part, where every secret will be fully revealed. Just when I thought everything was clear, a truth even more brutal suddenly emerged. An uncle of mine, always appearing neutral and kind, unexpectedly admitted. He had been the one manipulating the entire will from the start. He hadn't just influenced my grandfather, but had also coordinated with my cousin to cut me out of the inheritance. Every detail from before suddenly took on an entirely new meaning. The gentle words, the caring glances I thought were signs of love, were actually a facade masking a sophisticated scheme. Every action, every conversation had been meticulously calculated so that I wouldn't suspect a thing. But worse, I discovered that my mother, the person I trusted most, was also complicit. She chose to side with my cousin, using my love and trust as tools to force me into silence. This was no longer just about money. It was a game of power, and I was the only pawn. I felt as if I were falling into a bottomless abyss. Love, family, trust, all had turned into deep, unhealable wounds. The only question echoing in my mind: is there anyone in this family who truly loves me, or has it all been lies? And in that moment, I realized. This battle was not just about inheritance, it was about the survival of my own heart. Everything I once believed in had now become an endless nightmare. I didn't know where to begin. Every heartbeat, every breath, was filled with chaos. The trust I had placed in my family was now shattered beyond repair. Each person, every familiar face, now appeared as a stranger. I wondered, was I too naive to believe that love and filial devotion could triumph? Had my sincerity simply become a commodity to be exploited in a game of power? Childhood memories flooded back. The first time my grandfather smiled at me, the afternoons holding my mother's hand on walks, my brother's warm gaze. Now all of it mingled with pain, like a storm with no escape. I was torn between two opposing emotions. One, anger and hatred toward those who had betrayed me. The other, a desperate longing to forgive, a yearning to return to peaceful days. But deep down, I knew this betrayal could not be easily forgotten. I couldn't trust anyone, not even myself. Questions echoed in my mind. Did I still have the courage to trust again? Could love be strong enough to heal these wounds? I stood there, alone, amid the shattered pieces of family and faith. A feeling both lonely and tense, hopeless yet flickering with a fragile glimmer of hope. And I told myself, no matter what, I have to find a way to stand strong. I have to find a way to turn this pain into strength before it completely crushes my heart. I thought I had seen it all. But the truth was far more horrific than I could have imagined. While I was reeling from being stripped of my inheritance, the final discovery made my heart stop. My grandfather had not died naturally. It was a staged accident. The ones behind it, none other than my cousin and their mother. They had calculated every step from manipulating the will to orchestrating a fake death to protect their own interests. Not only that, the documents I had previously found were also part of the scheme. My grandfather had truly wanted to protect me, but everything had been destroyed from within. My mother, the person I trusted most, was not only complicit, but had actively erased evidence that supported me. The sense of betrayal reached its peak. The people I had once loved and trusted now revealed themselves as the cruelest liars. I stood in the eye of a storm, with no trust, no family, and nowhere that felt safe. If it were you, what would you do in this situation? Would you choose to forgive and move on, or rise up and fight relentlessly to reclaim justice? I still don't know what I should do, or how I should live. Every choice carries risk. Every step is laced with pain. But one thing is certain. I will no longer be the naive person I once was. I have to learn to protect myself, to distinguish love from deceit. Who do you think is right, and who is wrong in this story? Whose side would you take if you were in a similar situation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like if this story leaves you breathless and as tense as the main character. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the next part, where the remaining secrets will be revealed, and the drama will continue to explode. Because sometimes, the truth in real life is even more horrifying and cruel than anything we could imagine.